This lecture will be taking a look at how we can work with MySQL in Python. So the first thing that you need to have on your system is MySQL installed, and you can do that by visiting the mysql.com/downloads link. We're not going to cover how to install MySQL on the system. We'll be demonstrating how we can connect to an existing MySQL server. So I already have MySQL installed on my machine, and here you can easily download it and install it on your system. Once you have done that, the next thing that we need to do is installing the MySQL connector. So here we have connector for Python, and you can select the operating system and the version based on the kind of OS that you have, like 32-bit or 64-bit. You can choose to install the connector. Here I'll be going with the 32-bit version. Just click on the download link to get started with the download, and here you can just skip this, and there you can see the connector MSI file is being downloaded. Next, you just click on this once downloaded. Once the installer has launched the wizard, you can just go and click on next, and here you can just go ahead and click on next one more time, and everything will be installed with the permission, and there you go. It has been installed. Now click on finish. The next thing that we need to do is open up Visual Studio Code, and here try importing this MySQL connector and save this and try running the script now. And here you can see the script ran successfully without any error. That means your MySQL connector has been installed successfully. Next, what we need to do is, so I'll be rewriting this whole thing so we can have it over here like this. The first thing that we're doing is we're giving it an alias MySQL connector as MySQL, and here we'll have to provide the host, which is obviously localhost. User is root, and in my case the password is this. Now once we have this established, the database instance has been created, we can save this, and the next thing that we'll be doing is create an instance of cursor class, which is used to execute the SQL statements in Python. So here we have the cursor instance using db.cursor, and next we will be creating a database called PyUser. So here we are saying cursor.execute create database PyUser, and then we are making another SQL query, that is show databases. So if this database has been created successfully, using cursor.execute show database, and then finally cursor.fetch all will provide us all the databases that we have in MySQL server that's installed on this machine. So let's give it a run now, and here you can see it says can't create database PyUser, database already exists. So what we'll do now is we'll just comment this line, and let's give it a run again. And there you go. You have the information schema, seamless development, courses app, MySQL, PyUser, and test databases in the installed MySQL server. So we have seen how to create a database, how to list all the databases that are already existing in the MySQL server. You can also loop through it one by one using the for loop. So here, let's clear the output, and there you go. You have all these databases printed now. Now let's go ahead and see how we can create a table inside a database. So till now, here we provided three mandatory parameters. The one that is required now for creating tables is the database itself. So here we'll say database is equal to, and the name of the database that we just created was PyUser. Let's save this now. And once we have the connection string sorted, the next thing that we need to do is, right after the create database PyUser, you can have this create table users, and here we're just having two columns, name and username. Let's save this now. And just like we printed all the databases, here we'll be printing all the tables that we have inside the current database. So all we are saying is show tables, fetch all. The values will be inside the tables, and we're looping through that table collection. So let's give it a run now, and here you can see the users table is now listed as part of the output. One thing that we have not done in our create statement when we were creating the table users is that we have not defined the primary key. Now any table when defined must have a primary key. So what we'll do now is we'll just remove this line, and we'll first of all drop that table that we created earlier, and we'll again create the users table. This time we'll be including one more column called ID, and you can see that it's set as not null auto increment primary key. So these are the attributes that a primary key must have. It should be not null. Usually it's auto incremented unless you are not doing it from an external script or something. And then we have the column names as usual, name and username. Now once that's done, this table will be created again and it will be printed just like we have currently in the output. Now if you want to know the metadata of a table or the structure of a table, you can do so by using the query describe. So short form for that is DESC. That is describe users. So when we do that, here just after the user's name table, we have the structure of that table. So it says ID, then the data type, whether it's null or not, then whether it's a primary key or not, auto increment is set to true. Then for other columns, name, varchar, null yes. Then we have username, another column name, the data type of it, and whether it's set to null or not. So you can get the structure of the table using this command. Now let's go ahead and add some rows to our existing table users. So here you can see we are saying insert into users the name, username, values, both are string. That's why we are making use of %s. This for string we use this in MySQL. After that, all we are doing is we are specifying the values. So here you can see I'm just specifying first and last name John Doe, and then we are saying cursor.execute. Then the query is there and the values that query needs values. Finally, we are doing db.commit, and once you do this, the changes will be applied to the database and records will be inserted. Next, we are saying cursor.rowCount. Using this, you get the total number of rows that has been inserted using the cursor, and it will just print total number of rows records inserted. So now if I run this, you can see it says one record inserted. And if I have to see how many users have been inserted inside the users table, I can do that using the select query. So here I'm saying select all from users, then cursor.execute. Finally, using fetch all, I can get all the records that are there, and then looking through each one of them will print over here. Now as I'm deleting the table right when this script starts, that's the reason why it will just have one record every time I run this script. So if I now run this, you'll see John Doe as the user inserted in the system. And that's pretty much it about how you can connect to MySQL database, how you can create databases, create tables, get the structure of that table, insert some records, and select as well. So you have to have some knowledge of MySQL as well along with Python to work with MySQL with Python.